Good morning, everybody. It is day 4. I'm tired. I got up yesterday. My first session was at 5:30, sorry, 4:30. Still 5:30. And my last, event was, I got back to the hotel after 10 o'clock. I left before everybody else did because I was so tired. I needed to get back. I needed to shower. All that. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. But we're at it again today, so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and try to do something with my hair. Oh, my contacts are bothering. Well, it's not my contacts, my eye. I keep feeling like something's in my eye and I can't figure out what it is. So yesterday I ended up going to Sephora because the miniature, I'm so sorry. I'll stop yawning at some point. The miniature, while I love the concept, I'm not really able to get anything out of this, and so it's really complicating my routine. So I went ahead and just bought another one of these. I have a whole nother one at home too because I'm almost out of the one that I currently have. So I guess now it'll just be, that one will be another backup because I'm gonna have to use this today. So, let's see here. And then I went to make coffee this morning at my coffee maker and realized that the little drawer that goes in there for the pod is missing. So I cannot make coffee this morning. So I will have to run by Starbucks. Sorry, hubby. Freaked me out. Whew. Well, that's fun. I just need some dry shampoo to kind of give my hair some life, I guess. So I went and had a blowout before I came, which I love blowouts. But I think that this time we just used too many product in it, or like too much product in it after, like to style and set and everything else. And so I feel like my hair is really weighed down, and like you see how it does this, like my hair doesn't usually do that. My hair is, I know it looks thick, but it's not. It's usually very thin. It just like flops everywhere. And so I think that we just kind of overdid it a little bit with product, and I don't like that my hair feels like that. I like my hair to be movable, essentially. So I still remember.
One day we'll be together on the dance floor. Dreaming, dreaming, dreaming on a feeling. One day we'll be together. All of this time I've been dreaming, dreaming, dreaming on a feeling. One day we'll be together on the dance floor. Dreaming, dreaming, dreaming on a feeling. One day we'll be together. I still remember. I still remember the feeling. I wanna dance till I can't no more. All of this time I've been dreaming, dreaming on the dance floor. I still remember the feeling. I wanna dance till I can't no more. All of this time I've been dreaming, dreaming on the dance floor, dance floor. Tell me you still remember. One day we'll be together. It's you and me forever. Dreaming on the dance floor, dance floor. Dreaming, dreaming on a feeling. One day we'll be together on the dance floor.
So yesterday I had a break between some of my sessions, and so I walked over the White House because it's not very far from our hotel. So I went over there to see that. I really want to see like I think it's the Lincoln Memorial. Before I go, but I have to see if I have time. I have so many things scheduled and planned, and I only have, really 2 more days. I can't believe it's gone by so fast. Like I got here Tuesday and it's already Friday, and I have a full day planned today and a full day tomorrow. Sunday morning there's 1 session, so I'll go to that and then go eat before I head to the airport, but my plane doesn't leave until like almost 6 o'clock at night. Boo. That's okay though. That'll be fine. I'll just hang out at the airport. But I had some good sessions yesterday. What is that business? They talked about some drugs that are given for radiation and why, and things to remember before, after, all of that kind of stuff. So that was very interesting. But our keynote speaker was a woman who, she said she's actually one of a triplet. And when she was 5, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And they told her parents that she only had like 2 months left to live. Well, her parents were like, forget that. So they, sent her to the best hospitals, and she did well. She thrived. She became apparently a very well-known athlete. And then at 15, she started having issues again. And so she said she went back in and she was diagnosed again with a recurrence. So, and she said they went in and they got the whole tumor. But when she woke up, she heard the doctors telling her parents that she'd had a stroke. And so she lost all use of her right side. And so the whole conversation was essentially about how she used that to push her to be better than anything else. And so she looks at it now as that being the best thing that could have ever happened to her. Because she feels like she is where she is today because of that, and because it also taught her so much. And her story was it was very inspiring. And you know, when you take time to talk to people, there's a lot of people who have stories like that. And I'm not saying, you know, everybody's had a stroke. No. But I'm just saying, like, everybody has some type of a story. And I think it's so important as people to take the time to hear other people's story, learn people's story. Like, I always get so interested. So yesterday, when we were waiting to go into our event for the evening, we were all kind of flabbergasted because some of the things that we saw on the street going on around us and next to us and everything else, it was just one of those things where you sit and you're like, okay, I want to know their story. Like, I want to know what's going on. Why are they doing that? And so it just made for interesting conversation, and it's helpful sometimes to stop and think about somebody, you know, other than yourself, and think about like what other people have gone through, and how maybe your story can inspire somebody else. You know, I have my own story. No, it's not as harrowing as I've had a stroke or a brain tumor, and, you know, used it to build my brand. But I think that it is very cool to stop and think about the fact that, again, like, we all have a story. We've all been somewhere, right? And the fact that I know I talked about this the other day, and I'm going to talk about it again because of something that happened yesterday, and no, I'm not going to go into it, but and it was something personal, not professional. But I don't understand why we can't all get to a place, especially women, y'all women, like, why can't we get to a place where we learn to embrace each other's differences and uniqueness and gifts and talents and everything else, and support each other in those? Like, why do we have to find reasons to create fault in other people? Why do we have to spend our time deciding that people are not good enough because of, you know? Again, like my story I shared in my last, like, Get Ready With Me about, you know, my cheerleading, and about the fact that, like, I wasn't good enough for them because I didn't have money. I didn't have, you know, my parents drove me everywhere in a car that they would pray would start when we started it in the morning, would actually drive to where we were going, and then would actually drive us back home. Like, I never had a reliable vehicle really until, I think my mom did after, like, way later in my life, but I didn't grow up with a reliable vehicle. I grew up with, you know, we had cars that, like, the headliner was hanging down and it had no air conditioning, so the windows had to be down. And so with the headliner down and the windows down, you had all of the black stuffing that was up there just blowing in your face. Like, that's how I grew up, right? And obviously it wasn't good enough for these people because I didn't have the money, I didn't have the look, I didn't have the house. I was in their standards. I was unattractive. I was very overweight, you know, all of these things. And I feel like we spend so much more time, or waste so much more time, focusing on all of the negatives and finding fault in people. And what if we're missing out? What if we're missing out on meeting and connecting with some of the most incredible people? Maybe somebody who's going to influence you, maybe somebody who's going to inspire you, because they have a story that is going to connect with you and is going to resonate with you and is going to help you decide to do something, or is going to finally help you feel like, you know what, I'm not the only one that went through this. Like, this person went through it, and maybe they're not at the top of their game yet, but they're gonna get there. They're still living. They're still breathing. And so I just don't see why do we have to spend our time being ugly with each other? And I mean, I am absolutely not perfect in that department. I will tell you, I have fallen into the trap of doing that. I think all of us have. And if you say that you have not, you're lying. But I have tried to be better. I have tried to stop looking for the negative and try to find the positive in people. I mean, there's people now too that like, I don't have a choice. I have to deal with them. And they're not my favorite people, but you know what? I'm gonna remember that they're, number one, still a child of God. Number two, there's somebody out there who sees the good in them. And so they mean something special to somebody. And while they may not like tickle that fancy for me, that's okay. I can still treat people with respect. I can still encourage people when they need it. All of that. So I just don't understand why we spend so much time and effort. And I think that, you know, women are really, really bad at that. You know, men, I'm not a man, obviously. Surprise. But men, I think, tend to like not care about that stuff. They get over it quickly. They're like, whatever, I don't have time for that shit, you know. Oopsies, I forgot to put this on. And that will be very, very bad. Oh well. Anyway, men just don't spend as much time on that stuff, and I can't hold anything today. I need caffeine. And they tend to get over things like that. So they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, my buddy today was talking to so-and-so. And so, you know what? That's ridiculous. Like we can't be friends anymore because I don't like that person. And I've told them before that I don't like that person. And how dare they talk to that person? It's like they hate me. You know, women go on this like entire unnecessary tangent. Like we take one small thing and like totally jump off the deep end with it. And you're like, how did you get from point A to point B? Anyway, but I just think that if we stopped wasting our times and efforts on trying to separate everybody because we feel like they don't meet our standards and our criteria, number one, we'd have so much more time to do other things. But number two, we might find out that we really like those people. You know, we might find out that those people are actually worth something. And now, oh, wow, now we see what everybody sees in them because we gave them the chance, right? So that's just kind of what I'm getting at. I just, you know, when I was growing up, I used to say like, oh, I can't wait till I'm a grown up because people clearly don't, like, adults are not going to act like this, right? Like, I had this vision that adulthood was going to be just amazing. And, you know, because obviously the way that we act as kids and high schoolers and things like that were ridiculous. So I was like, clearly adults are not going to act like this. So, oh my gosh, I used to say all the time, like, oh, I can't wait until I'm a grown up because I won't have to deal with this crap anymore. Like, it's so petty and ridiculous. And I will tell you what, oh, same shit, different day. Literally. So it's so fun because I don't want to do all that stuff. And like I said, I do sometimes, even still, I can get caught up in that stuff. And I have to like refocus myself and remember that I I don't like it when people treat me like that, and so I need to not treat them like that. So, and oftentimes, I mean, I think most times, this is where women are bad, right? We don't like that introspection. And so, most of the time, I find that when I'm doing that, it's because of my insecurities. And it's because those people are doing what I would rather be doing, or have something that I don't have that I want, or, something, right? It's because they rub that insecurity the wrong way, and so I have to convince myself. And women just do that, and we've got to stop. Because really, like, what I should be doing is going to those people and being like, hey, how did you do this? How did you get here? How did you make this happen for you? Like, what steps? Who did you connect with? What was your journey? And that is something that I'm working on. Because again, introspection is hard, right? We don't like to tell ourselves what we're doing wrong and where our faults are. And I will tell you what, that is hard for me, because I am, again, very type A. I am a perfectionist. I've been that way since I was born. And it's just innate in me. And so I hate, don't hate, loathe. Y'all know what movie that's from? Okay. And when I am not perfect and I have things that I need to work on, it drives me insane. We all have them, right? But that is one of the things that I can tell you right now just chaps my ass, is when I realize that I have screwed up and I could have or should have done better or different. So it can be hard to be honest with yourself. Again, especially women, okay? Women just don't like that. But we tend to like people, or we tend to not like people who exhibit what we want in the future, instead of aligning ourselves with those people, so that way we can model ourselves after them. So, I don't know. There's a lot going on in my life right now that I'm learning a lot from, and it's hard because I have to stop and think about the parts that I play in those things, and then what can I do to change those outcomes. And that can be really tough too, because I get to where sometimes I feel like, okay, well, they were just mean to me, or they were just, whatever. But what part did I play in the situation, or how did I deliver the message? What words did I use? Could I have approached it differently? And I mean, I've gone through a lot of that as a leader, because if you listened to my last podcast, and P.S., I have a podcast. Y'all can go listen to it. It's on any platform. I just listened to it on the Apple podcast platform, but it's on everything. And it's called The Tip Talks with Dr. Tiffany Benita. And I've had it for a few years. I'm trying to be more consistent, and I'm trying to get some new content and things like that. But in my last episode, I talked about the fact that, well, damn, I lost my train of thought. So I don't remember what I talked about anymore. hate when that happens is because I have not had caffeine yet. I had my morning medicine, but well, that was fun. So I have a podcast. Go listen to it. Oh, that's where I was going with that. So in leadership, emotional intelligence is a huge deal. I mean, probably in anything, right? But I feel like if you're just a citizen of life, like emotional intelligence isn't necessarily as crucial and critical as it is if you are a leader. And so I actually, again, Miss Perfect, right? Had a situation once where I had a leader who was very influential in my organization, and that I respected. And that I respected greatly. Essentially tell me, because I had applied for a job and I was told that I wasn't going to get that job because I really needed to work on my emotional intelligence because I essentially didn't have any. Now, she didn't necessarily say that I had none, but she told me that I was severely deficient in that department and that I needed to work on that. And I was just like, what? So I went back to my stuff for my master's program because you do very intensive workshops in emotional intelligence, especially like in nursing, leadership programs, and most organizations, I think, in healthcare have their leaders take those courses too. And so I went back and remembered that the first time I took the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 quiz, I scored 0. That's very bad. Because you don't want to be known as having no emotional intelligence. But apparently this like lovely quiz test thing pegged me and said I had no emotional intelligence. Well, how dare them. So I went back and remembered and said, you know what, let me think about some times when. And so I went through that whole process and started realizing that there's a lot of times that I could have done things differently, like in meetings. And it taught me too that, I used to be the one in meetings that always wanted to talk and share perspective and things like that. And again, in my podcast, I had talked about the fact that it comes from my past traumas. It doesn't come from the fact that I think I'm a know-it-all. That's not it. Which people on the outside would think that, right? But the desire to do that is all about the desire to be accepted and liked and recognized as knowledgeable and good enough, right? Which is something that I had always wanted. And so I started realizing, and I actually had a colleague who told me that one of these leaders, actually that same leader, had told her that her recommendation in leadership meetings was, before you say something, you need to ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does it need to be said here? And does it need to be said by me? And so she said, if the answer to all 3 of those questions is yes, then it's safe to go ahead and speak. If the answer at any point to those questions is no, then you should hold your tongue, write your question down, and ask later, or your comment or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, that piece of advice and perspective was literally mind-blowing and life-changing for me. So, because I'm, people talk about I'm a good listener, I'm a good, whatever, right? I'm a good listener, but I'm also a good responder. Let me put it that way. I've never been good at just sitting and listening the entire meeting or, whatever. So it was very difficult for me to challenge myself to do that. But I said, you know what? Challenge accepted. And so I started doing that. And I shit you not, 6 months later, I went into a meeting with this same leader who then told me that all of the other leaders recognized that I had been doing some very hard work on my growth and development as a leader and in the Department of Emotional Intelligence. And so I was actually invited to take the position that I had initially wanted and applied for because it had not been filled yet. And that is how I started my nursing leadership journey. So, but it starts, number one, with somebody having the courage to tell you that you need to work on something. And number two, it takes the courage and the humbleness for you as an individual to stop and say, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna figure it out, because if somebody is giving me the key to unlock the door for where I want to be and what I want to be doing, and they're telling me flat out why I'm not getting what I want, then I'm stupid to not take that moment and really absorb that, whether I believe it or not, right? If you have this person who makes decisions and is telling you straight up, like, this is what you have to do to get this, and you're not getting it until you do this, then work time begins, right? So, but all that to say, introspection is not easy. It's very hard. It takes effort. It takes you as a person being willing to put down those guards and to put that I'm gonna call it self-love, but it really is about that. It's about you being able to put all of that aside and recognize that you have work that can be done. So, again, all of that to say, introspection is very important, and I still work on that. There's still times that I struggle with the fact that, like, how does it seem that, like, I didn't do this right, or I didn't do this perfect, or it wasn't good enough, or whatever. But I just see, as I do new things and I move up and I get new opportunities and I grow in different areas, you start to notice the division of people in your life. And you start to notice that there's some who are like, hey, I want to jump on your train and I want to support you because I love you and I want you to succeed. And then you're going to start to notice that some of the other people in your life separate the other direction, and they're upset because you're doing different things. You're growing in a different way. And I truly believe that that's why I had a very, very, very good friend, like my best friend, after I moved here. Didn't know anybody. And I became that person's pet project. And I appreciated it because that person was somebody that I wanted to be. I aspired to be. And I felt honored that that individual would take the time to invest in me to make me better. Well, as time went on, that person started wanting to spend less time with me. And I mean, me and this person were literally family. But they started, like, ghosting me. They started, all of these things, and I just, like, didn't understand. And then one day And it's actually, let's see, the last time I saw or spoke to this person, that again, this person was a godparent to my children. They were in my wedding. Like they were a very vital part of my life. And let's see, probably 8.5 years ago, they came to my house, saw my daughter after she was born. She'd been born, I think she was 2 weeks old. And that was it. Never saw her again. That person ended up blocking me on social media, and I don't know what happened. Not at all. It was very painful for a long time, but my husband and my mom really helped me to separate all of that, because that was like the one person that I thought was going to be in my life forever. Because at the time, like me and who I call my sister, I will always think of her as my sister. We've been best friends since we were little. Like daycare days, literally daycare days. She and I were going through a rough patch and hadn't spoken in years. And so at that time, I think that's why I clung so hard to this person. And during that time is when my sister came back into my life. And so my family and friends helped me better understand that, number one, some people are in your life for a season, right? And that person was in my life in a season when I needed somebody, because I didn't have my sister anymore and I was struggling with that. But now that I had my sister back, well, I loved this I will always love this person. This person is somebody that is special, whether we're friends or not, whether she likes me still or not. I really don't know what happened. Like, no clue, zero clue. But I can still appreciate the person that she was when I needed her the most. But now that I had my sister back, I was like, if I had to lose a friend to gain my sister back, I would do it all over again, because my sister is like one of the most important people in my entire life. So I'm so thankful for her. She's like, my kids know her as their aunt. But we are still, like, me and this other individual are now kind of involved in some of the same circles. And so I get super sick to my stomach thinking like, okay, I'm gonna run into this person, or I'm gonna whatever. And there's still that part of me, like, I want to know what happened, but then at the same time, it really may have just been her thing. Like, maybe her season of me was over and she just didn't want to tell me. Like, I don't know. But I feel like as I started to flourish, our relationship changed. And it sucks because she was a very successful person too. And again, like, I hooked my cart to hers because I wanted to be what she was. Like, I really, really admired her and respected her. So, but again, women, like, I don't understand. If y'all have insight on that, or you've done some introspection when it comes to that, like, share with me, because I just don't necessarily get it. Like, why we spend so much of our time and effort being so mean to each other and tearing each other down instead of building each other up and encouraging each other and being supporters. All the things I've been going through and thinking through, like, I really am in my life going through this season of change and going through this season of discovery, maybe? Is that what I can call it? I don't know. But really, like, I'm figuring out what do I want to be when I grow up? Because I thought that I knew my exact path. But again, if you've heard my story about how I became a nurse, obviously I haven't really known what my path was since the beginning, or they always say, right, like, make plans and God laughs. So I have been on this journey lately to really kind of ask myself the questions of, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? And I want to build my own brand. I want to be a brand for myself. I want to advocate for health policy and change. I've told y'all this before, like, health policy related to cancer patients in the oncology community is extremely near and dear to my heart, not just because of my profession, but personally as well. And so I want to advocate in every way possible for them. And I also want to advocate for safe working environments for healthcare providers and professionals. And I want to be able to build a brand where I have the opportunity and the platform to do that, which means doing more on YouTube, which means doing more podcasting, which means doing more networking and getting myself out there and connecting with others and doing things that are going to put me on the path and in the direction that I need to be to accomplish those things. So, and unfortunately, there's going to be people who decide that they want to join me on that ride and support me and cheer me on. And there's going to be people who say, I'm not interested in your journey and I don't want to do this anymore. And I have to learn to be okay with that, because the hardest part is not making yourself feel like you're not good enough for them. The truth is that it's a them problem, not a you problem. And for people who struggle with acceptance and insecurity, that is the hardest thing to accept. So, here we are again. Another great episode of the Tiff Talks, just not on the podcast. Anyway. Oh, I thought there was somebody outside my door. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Put a little. My first session's at 8:15, so I need to throw on my clothes. Luckily, I'm like staying in the hotel that the conference is in, so it's really easy. I mean, well, it's kind of a long way, but it's not as difficult as, walking 10 miles uphill in the snow. But it is pretty easy for me to just get to where I'm going every day. So, all right, I'm wearing a dress today, so I'm gonna put my anti-chafe stick on, and I'm gonna try to get dressed really fast. Quickly showing y'all, see, the bra that I had yesterday was purple. This one's beige, very basic, right? But it's still like so nice. It's Victoria's Secret. Love their bras, but it's got like a nice little lace detail here. So I swear these are the best bras, y'all. If you're looking for nice bras like this is, go get these at Victoria's Secret. They're very affordable. Okay, I gotta take my hair down because I'm wearing a white dress today and I cannot get this all over. or I can't get my makeup all over my dress. So I already have my shoes on, so that's why I'm like really tall right now. I got a smidge of makeup right here. That sucks. I'll have to deal with it. But I gotta fix this hair. I really wish I would have brought my comb. I totally forgot it, but I have my brush, but not my comb. Because I like to use my comb to comb through like the curl, sort of, the curl. Oh. I need to kind of blend this in a little bit because I think it's like a little unblended and messy. That's what I don't want people looking, you know, like when you see people and you're like, oh my gosh, they're totally wearing the wrong color. My stuff is a lot darker right now because the rest of my body's tan, but I also found that it covers a lot more. Anyway, this dress has like little pockets in it. So cute. I just hope nobody can see my underwear through here because I forgot my shapewear. And usually that kind of hides and covers all that, but it's nice and thick too. I love it. So cute. But thank you all so much for watching today. I'm gonna go ahead and get going because I gotta go get my Starbucks so I can go to my first session, and I will catch y'all later. Bye.